ban. Quote, "I am so proud and in awe. Thank you so much. All my deepest respects." Wall Street Journal also reported Weissman attended Hillary Clinton's election night party in Manhattan. Then there's Jeannie Rhee, another prosecutor picked by Mueller to investigate Trump-Russian matters. Here's her background. She's a Clinton donor who represented the Clinton Foundation and represented Hillary herself in the email investigation. She also represented top Obama official Ben Rhodes in the Benghazi cover-up investigation. Wow, fair and balanced. But it gets worse. Obama DOJ holdover Bruce Orr was just demoted after it was uncovered he met secretly with the foreign agent who Hillary paid to concoct the fake Russian dossier, and met with the president of the firm Hillary paid to produce the dossier. So what's going on here? Joining me now, former chair of the House Oversight Committee and Utah Congressman, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. So Chaffetz, this Mueller dream team looks like a nightmare now. What do you think?
There is a major systemic problem within the Department of Justice, this deep state that we've been talking about. It's blossoming before our very eyes as we see the reality of how this investigation into Trump and the dossier and Hillary Clinton really went down. You had some highly partisan people who wore it on their shirt sleeves and didn't necessarily put a blindfold on and looking for justice.
So do you think the investigation into Trump-Russia matters is completely corrupt now, beyond repair? And if so, what's to be done about it?
Well, what you really need is Devin Nunes, who's the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, and Trey Gowdy, who also is the chairman of the committee that I used to chair, the Oversight Committee. Trey is also on the Intel Committee. They have been asking for access to personnel and documents for months on end.
Yeah, but
and there
they've been
should be a flashing red light for
the
everybody.
FBI and the Justice Department. They're not cooperating with any of the congressional investigators, which is very, very suspicious, because I don't see any reason why they can't get along. Now, one of your other former colleagues from Ohio, Jim Jordan, really, I think, pulled the thread on this whole conspiracy the other day. During the hearing with Wray, the FBI director, he concocted this theory, which I think is true. Peter Strzok, this anti-Trump guy on the Mueller team who was just, kicked over to an HR office, he was the one that took the Hillary Clinton-funded fake Russian dossier, used it in applying for the wiretap in the FISA court, and it was granted based on the fake information, which was then used to spy on the Trump campaign. If that's true, if Hillary Clinton paid for the paperwork that was used as justification to spy on Trump that started this whole investigation, that's huge. Or as Trump would say, huge.
It is. It's not only a concern that the Clinton campaign paid for it, but maybe the FBI also paid for what was also used in the campaign.
Right.
It's a very viable theory that needs to be looked at in its depth. Jim Jordan is a very responsible member of Congress. He wouldn't just make that up. I think he has some deep-seated reasons as to why he specifically asked that.
Also, some of your former colleagues misbehaving. This in the Senate, Al Franken resigned. We think, we're not sure. Here's what he had to say on the Senate floor. Go ahead.
Some of the allegations against me are simply not true. Others I remember very differently. I am announcing that in the coming weeks, I will be resigning as a member of the United States Senate. I, of all people, am aware that there is some irony in the fact that I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office.
All right, so we're going to get to the more Trump contrast in a second. But let me ask you first, when you were in the halls of Congress, were you hearing things? Was this a problem, sexual harassment? I know a lot of young people go right after college and work for congressmen. What was your take on the whole situation?
Well, I don't want to cast dispersion on everybody, but there was always somebody doing something stupid somewhere. And there are some people that shouldn't work in Congress, and they shouldn't even work at a Chuck E. Cheese. And so
Did you know about this? Were you aware of the rumors when you were serving?
there's rumors and there's, guesses and that sort of thing. I wouldn't say that it's pervasive in every corner, but there are certain individuals that you just look at and say, really? I mean, gosh, I hope everything's okay over there.
Did you witness
so some of that's been.
Did you witness any suspicious behavior or anything that caught your eye and said, oh, that seems a little off?
Yeah, no, nothing directly where you think, oh my gosh, he shouldn't be touching her that way or shouldn't be talking to her that way. But, Washington, D.C. is in large part run by 20-year-olds. You have a lot of young people early in their careers. You've got thousands of interns going around. And then you got members of Congress who leave their families for weeks on end. And that seems to be a recipe for... Well, not such good things.
Right. Well, I mean, the fact that Washington's run by 20-year-olds maybe shows why we're in the place we're in. Let me play some sound from one of the Moore accusers, Beverly Young Nelson. She was the one that said Roy Moore, Senate candidate in Alabama, Republican, signed her yearbook. Turns out there was more to the story. Here's ABC News.
Beverly, he signed your yearbook.
He did sign it.
And you made some notes underneath.
Yes.
Okay, so the story is, and I'll give you 30 seconds to break this down. He allegedly signed the yearbook, but then she wrote a bunch of annotated things underneath it, and now her whole allegation is thrown into question. This election's right around the corner. What do you think?
It goes to the credibility. The fact that the story initially came out 4 days after he wins the primary. Now we hear days before, and they're finally admitting, hey, maybe everything that was written as we presented, that wasn't necessarily true. You've got people in Alabama that get to be the judge and jury here and make a decision come Tuesday night.
Yeah, well, voters will decide. Congressman, thank you very much.
Yep.
Coming up, campus craziness of the week.